Resources meeting for 4:20 to order at this time.
Did we give Creed a heads up? I'm sorry. Do we need to give?
Oh, yes, let's go. Creed, is Creed there? Okay. Let's call the meeting of the Human Resources Committee to order. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Lisa to make a statement.
All right. This meeting is being held pursuant to Executive Order 16 of the Governor of the State of Tennessee. The meeting is being held electronically due to the need to protect the health, safety, and well-being of the citizenry, and without objection, we'll proceed in that manner. As such, all members of the committee must be able to hear me and each other and the chair, as well as other participants. Diane will take the roll in a moment, and as she takes the roll, if you cannot hear the other members, please notify the chair immediately. All votes will be done by roll call, and when you speak to a matter, if you can identify yourself just to make sure it's clear who's speaking, that would be helpful as well. This meeting is available to the public on Public Access TV and is streaming live on YouTube. Diane, if you can call the roll.
Yes, ma'am. So we have Chairman Ricky Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Sturgeon,
Barbara Sturgeon here.
Commissioner Lathers,
Here.
Commissioner Story,
Here.
Commissioner Beal, Commissioner Robbie Beal, Commissioner Smith.
Here.
So those are the members of the Human Resources Committee, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Weber, are you online?
I am.
Wayne Franklin?
I'm here.
So to my knowledge, other than Mayor Anderson and Lisa Carson, those are the individuals who have business to come before the committee. Are there any other commissioners on the line that wish to be identified as being present? Okay, so I don't hear any other. Commissioner Sturgeon had sent a request that we verify the resolutions and the policies that we'll be discussing. So you should have gotten an updated email from Jamie this afternoon. Looks like about 12:08. And there are two attachments. One of them would be OSHA resolution, and then the second attachment, Commissioner Sturgeon, is about 14 pages. Do you have those?
I have received them.
Can you hear me?
I can now, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I have that email. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Jones, it's take it away.
Okay, the first resolution that I have is a resolution to establish an occupational safety and health program, devise rules and regulations, and to provide for a director and the implementation of such program.
Motion to approve.
And who was that?
Chad Story,
Okay.
Commissioner Story.
Steve Smith will second.
Okay, Mike Smith second. Okay.
Steve Smith.
Excuse me, Steve Smith, you're right. Yeah, that's okay. Do we need someone to speak to this?
Yes, sir. I believe Wayne Franklin is going to present it, and there's a typo in the resolution that you received that he will call your attention to.
Okay. Take it away, Wayne.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Jones. This is just a reaffirming the plan that the county's had in place for several years. We have to revisit it every so often to update the location list that we have with the Tennessee Department of Safety, Tennessee OSHA. There are actually two typos. These were actually in the old document, and I failed to correct them bringing it forward. But under the standards authorized, excuse me, the TCA Title 50, that should be Chapter 3 instead of Chapter 5. And then the next paragraph below, under variances from standard authorized, Chapter 08001-2 is authorized by TCA. That should be Title 50 instead of Title 5. Those will be corrected before this resolution is brought forward for the final approval.
Okay, do we have any questions or discussions?
Yes, I have a question, Commissioner
Okay.
Sturgeon.
Okay.
Wayne, what page, Wayne, shows the locations that have been changed?
They don't. It's not a page that shows the locations that have changed. It's just an update of the list, and it's toward the back. Looks like page 13 and 14 are the locations.
Oh. Okay, I see it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying the major change is just that locations?
Yes, ma'am. This is a document that's actually provided by the state of Tennessee, Tennessee OSHA, and we just apply it to our needs, and then the commission votes on it.
Got it.
Any other questions or discussions? I see none. So Diane, we need to do a roll call vote.
Yes, sir, please. Commissioner Sturgeon,
Aye.
Commissioner Lathers,
Aye.
Commissioner Story,
Aye.
Commissioner Beal, did you join us? Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
and Chairman Jones.
Aye.
So I have 5 yes, 0 no.
Okay. The next resolution we have is resolution ratifying certain temporary personnel policies necessitated by the COVID-19 outbreak.
And
I hear a motion?
yes,
Chad Story, motions to approve.
Beth Law.
Steve Smith, second. Oh,
Sorry. Either one.
That's okay.
and Lisa Carson is, and Mike Weber are here to discuss this one.
Okay. Whoever wants to go first, let Lisa, you go first.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This resolution has 4 attachments, exhibits A through D that have been put into place temporarily already, some of them, and are seeking ratification and approval of the commission. They are emergency personnel policies that were necessitated by the COVID-19 outbreak. And the reason that they're being presented to the commission is because of Tennessee's state statute that requires that certain personnel policies for county employees, including those related to leave time, be approved by the commission after being placed in writing and approved by legal counsel. You'll see that these are in an informal kind of memo draft form rather than formal policies, and that is because they're not intended to become a part of the permanent policy manual. The idea is for eventually these policies to simply lapse away when the crisis has passed and to go back to the permanent policies that are in place. The 4 policies, just to give a very quick overview, Exhibit A is Williamson County's interim COVID-19 emergency leave policy, which was actually what was put in place by Human Resources at the mayor's direction between March 13th and April 1st, so that our employees who needed to be off for COVID-related reasons before the federal law, the Families First Coronavirus Recovery Act, became effective on April 1st. And so that will actually be a historical ratification because that particular policy has already is already no longer in effect because it has been subsumed by Exhibit B, which is the leave policy under the Families First Coronavirus Recovery Act, which allows for 2 weeks of emergency sick leave related to individuals who have to be out for COVID-related reasons, which includes quarantining, having been diagnosed with COVID, having to be out to take care of a family member or other person with COVID or who's been tested, being quarantined pursuant to a public health order, a doctor's order, et cetera. And then also addresses some family and medical leave extension that the federal government has put in place to the end of the year for individuals who need to be off with their children who are not in school or not in childcare because of the COVID crisis. That policy, the memo that addresses the county policy, is a very brief cursory document, and the reason for that is we are 100% governed on that by the federal law. And so we've given the general parameters, and then we've also included the 2 leave forms that are being utilized by our employees, as well as the Department of Labor posting, because the Department of Labor posting is actually a one-page document that kind of gives you a concise summary of the federal law, but we really don't have any discretion on that one. It's a policy that documents what we're doing, but we're doing it because it's required by federal law. Exhibit C is a temporary vacation leave policy wherein the county mayor has asked that employees not take vacation as a general rule right now because we need our essential employees available, but then carves out exceptions for employees who are not needed at the present time and want to take their vacation for various reasons that do not place other employees or themselves at further risk of COVID, such as traveling to areas where there's a high risk or a high crowd factor. And then the 4th one is a temporary policy involving opportunities for employees who can conduct their work from home to work from home and to comply with on-call guidelines. And that policy excludes essential employees who have to be in the workforce to do their job, but allows those who can work remotely to do so. And the main purpose of this particular provision was to comply with the governor's stay-at-home orders. Just as of today, the governor has announced that by May 1st, most of the requirements of the stay-at-home order will be lifted and people will be back in business. And so we anticipate that county employees will be coming back to work, actually in the workplace, and that most of that, again, will be historical by the time the county commission ratifies it. But nonetheless, for purposes of the comptroller's office and compliance with Tennessee law, we need to have the commission's approval of those. So those are the 4 policies that are outlined there, and Mike may have some comments on them as well, and I'm, of course, happy to answer any questions about the legalities related to them that I can.
Mike?
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate Lisa going through all that. There's a lot of work involved in that and keeping us going straight. As far as comments and stuff, we hope this is the end of the federal guidelines changing. They've thrown us a few curveballs over the last few weeks where I remember one time when I was writing a letter, and by the time I got through with it, the law had already changed on it and made it obsolete. So we've had a lot of that trying to work our way through this. I want to commend our employees who've actually gone the extra mile to hang in there with us and be patient and live under, uncertain decisions and stuff as all this has gone forward. But we want to do everything we can to make sure that we provide as safe an environment for our employees as we can. And I think I'd be remiss in not mentioning those employees, such as at the jail, such as at Animal Services and other places, emergency management and 911, who had to stick in there totally and were not able to take off to keep the essential functions going. So with all that said, I just ask for your support in passing this going forward. Thank you.
Do we have any questions or discussions on this amendment or resolution? Are we ready to vote?
I have a question.
Okay.
Sorry, it took me a while to find the button.
Okay.
Am I right in assuming that all 4 of these exhibits, all these policies won't apply after April 30th? Is that correct?
That's true with some of them. Exhibit A and Exhibit D will not apply once the governor's order is lifted. Exhibit A actually is already obsolete, but Exhibit B is actually a policy that is pursuant to the federal paid leave statute, and that statute remains effective until December 31st of this calendar year. And so that actually will remain effective. And the vacation policy, what the resolution asks is that the county commission give the county mayor some flexibility to make a determination when that policy is no longer needed, because the purpose of having that one in place is to limit vacation time when, particularly of essential employees during this time of heightened operational need. So those policies will not disappear as of the end of April.
Gotcha.
Any other questions or discussions? I see none. Diane, do you want to call the vote?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Sturgeon,
Commissioner Sturgeon, aye.
Commissioner Lathers,
Commissioner Lathers, aye.
Commissioner Story,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
and Commissioner Jones.
Aye. Is there
Commissioner
any other?
Field, have you joined the committee yet? I have 5 in favor, 0 against.
Okay. Is there any other business to come before our committee?
I have a question. Are you going to be able to come in and sign these resolutions, Ricky, or do you want us to have Paul sign them on your behalf?
I've got plenty of time. Tell me when you want me to come.
They'll be ready tomorrow. We've got to correct that, the risk management one, or yes, and then they'll be ready. So Monday or anytime later this week.
Okay, I'll come in and sign them.
Anything
Thank
else? Anything else, Diane?
Ricky,
I have one more question, if I might ask one more question.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, all right, sorry. It's technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
I
Yeah.
can hear you.
Well, you're back to muted. There we go.
Okay, it keeps muting itself. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is just, let me get the question in quick. This is just kind of related to HR. I know it doesn't actually fall under the county commission directly, but a lot of my constituents are asking about the 200 people laid off from Williamson Medical Center. Maybe the mayor or somebody on the hospital board could explain if that's true that they got laid off. If so, why?
Ricky, I'm
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead, Rogers.
let me get everybody will mute. I'll try to answer. Can you hear me now? Getting a lot of feedback. Let's try it again. Let me try it again.
It may be Commissioner Lathers. Can you mute your mic?
Lisa. Lisa,
Yes.
your mic's not reverberating like mine. Can you give them a quick synopsis of the hospital?
Well, I would, Mayor, except I haven't been involved in those discussions. Do you want me to ask Jeff to call in?
I'm gonna log out and call back to Diane.
I don't think it's the mayor's phone. I think that we've got several call-in users that are showing that are not muted. So I don't know who else is on the line, but if everyone who is not speaking could mute.
Let's try this, Diane. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? I went on a different, I'm learning how to do this. So the hospital did furlough 200, a little over 200 people. And they used the term furloughed just as soon as elected surgery gets to coming back, which we feel like the governor is going to release also quickly. It'll be one of the quickest things that he can get back. So in the meantime, those 200 employees are eligible to apply under the president's order, whereby they can pick up an extra $600 plus their regular benefits here. And then when they're needed back during this time, though, they still have their health insurance. The reasons they did that is because the governor did away with all elected surgeries. And so elected surgeries have nothing to do with the COVID-19. For an example, the bone and joint ceased operations from doing the knees and the hips and the shoulders and et cetera. And so there's just not a need for those people. And rather than paying them, they furloughed them out. Different hospitals did different things. Cookville laid off quite a few. I don't remember how many, 300 or 400. Murray Regional did the same thing, Commissioner. So there were a variety of different ways to arrive at that, but it was simply to reserve and preserve rather the capital of the hospital at this time. That's probably not the best answer that I can give you, other than there's just not the work that's going on at the hospital at this time to keep everyone on the payroll. That was a decision that the executive team made and was ratified or was told to the board. That answer your question? Commissioner, did that answer your question? Okay, I see your head nodding. So while I've got you on here, Ricky, is it okay if I touch on something else? Many of you
Sure.
have. Okay. So the numbers are beginning to flatten out. That was one of the reasons the governor went ahead today and made his statement that he was not going to renew the order past the end of the month, which is the 30th. And I appreciate him coming out in advance, because we're getting a lot of people in the community. Let's get this economy going again. And so there are many people looking at, listening to, offering advice. How do we get the Tennessee economy to the recovery going in that? And so he's put together a staff, a group of people, and their subcommittees working on that. And I happen to be one of those that, from the county mayor's side, that will be offering input up to this recovery group from the city and the county side. There's 12 mayors across the state. There's 6 counties, 6 city mayors. And so we're going to be meeting. We had our first meeting today. This order came down last Thursday. Friday, I was asked to participate. And so we'll be meeting tomorrow and Wednesday. We have to have a final report back to him by Thursday. The other thing I wanted to report to you, and I hope you all will take the time to drop a note the next time you see some of these people that are working behind the scenes, particularly our emergency management director, Todd Horton, countless hours, 7 days a week. The staff at the public health department, just so many people are joining in. And so last week, the governor made an announcement that he wanted everybody tested that wanted to be tested in the state. And so we have been testing behind the health department. There have been maybe 20, 25 a day. But when he opened it up to anybody willing to test, And we have two locations, one in Fairview where Ricky works or lives, and then one here beside the administrative complex. When they opened it up to anybody for no reason, no cost, no co-pays, on Saturday, we had a 5-hour run at this, and we went through 663 people that got tested in about a 5-hour snapshot. Out of those 663 people, that was the largest tested amount today. Now, Sunday in Sumner County, they had a very large group, but Saturday we had the largest number to turn out of 663. Out of that, we had 10 people that tested positive. 2 of those were from outer county. When you're dealing with public health, you don't have any borders. And we had 8 people within Williamson County that were confirmed COVID 19. So if you do your math on it, divide your 8 into the 663 people, we're hitting that benchmark of where we need to hit. Today, because of the crowd we had on Saturday, Dusty Rhodes and his guys, Franklin City helped do some of the traffic direction out on the front. We made the decision yesterday morning to move it from here at the administrative complex because we've been coming back to work and there's still a lot of cars. We were able to stage those cars on Saturday all over the parking lot, but it took longer than it needed. We moved it yesterday morning. We made the decision at 11:30, 12 o'clock, called in the ag boys. They paired the grounds, got it hard as a brick. Many of you know what I'm talking about on that dirt out there. And early this morning, our Parks and Rec people, 10 of them went out to help. We set up tables. We moved the tents that were in the back of the health department here, moved everything to the ag park so that people could drive in and drive through. So today we did from 12 to 3 and did 372 tests. So in 2 days of testing, we've tested 1,035 people. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and the announcement was made today that we're going to be open Saturday also. We'll be the only testing site again in Saturday. But we can handle a large volume of people. The only restriction we have is having enough of the kits. And they brought down some more kits to us today for tomorrow. So if we have the numbers we're planning to have and the people just drive straight in, never get out of the car, our people are doing the who are you, the name, rank, and serial number so we can call them back. Within 24 hours, we did it on Saturday. Last night we got the results. We were able to call those people back and tell them either positive or negative. If they're negative, we let our staff do it. Hey, Commissioner Story, you're fine. You didn't have any problem. If you're positive, we get one of the doctors one of the nurses to call from the state health department and telling them they have to go into quarantine, et cetera, et cetera. So we're expecting this week, if the numbers hold up, we do another 350 to 400 tomorrow throughout the week. We're really looking to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,500, hopefully by the end of the week to 3,000. That's the way you really can see the impact that it's making in your county. So just wanted to report that. I cannot tell you how nice it is to be mayor of a county where everybody just joins hands and tries to get the job done. It's really refreshing.
Rogers, what hours did you say it would be tomorrow?
So I'll get to somebody asked me here, who asked me this, Barb? So I'll get to yours. The question tomorrow will be, it was 10 to 2, but what we're doing, Ricky, because this morning we had less than 12 hours to get it out on the street through social media and through our COVID websites and the different sites that we have. We had 75 people in line before we opened, so we actually started at 11:30. But our times tomorrow through Friday will be 10 to 2, and we open that as soon as we can get ready to handle the volume of people. So in other words, they'll go out there about 8 o'clock, and we'll be ready to accept them at 8:30 if there's a line going. And we don't shut anybody out. Today, There were some stragglers that came in just a few minutes before 3. And we're trying to get if you're taking time out to be tested, we want to test you. So it's 10 to 2 the rest of the week. Now, there will be no testing at Fairview and no testing at the health department here. We moved everything out there for convenience. So I see on my chat that Barb asked, does the test only confirm COVID, or can it tell whether someone has had the antibodies or not? All the tests that tells us is you're COVID positive or not. We don't know if you're asymptomatic. We don't have that kind of testing here. This test just strictly says you got it or you don't. That answer your question? I think I see a head nodding. Any other questions? I've just been corrected. The Saturday tests are from 9 to 12, not 10 to 2, 9 to 12. And that was a late entry. They're going to move that around in the state, but we're having large turnouts from all points. I'll give you a recap. We'll try to put that in our weekly bulletin. If we had several out of county on Saturday, but we only had 2 out of county that were tested positive. It's a little difference. Anything else, Ricky?
Else have anything?
No, sir.
Motion to adjourn?
Do I hear a second?
Seth Lathers, second.
Okay. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
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 Diane, do you need each one?
Oh, no, sir, we're good. Thank you.
Okay, thank all of you guys and stay safe.
Thank you.
Okay, God bless.
Thank you, Mayor, for serving on the Economic Recovery Committee. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.